Hello, welcome to the Prowess Live today. We're so happy to have you guys here. We are just getting started. I am super excited about our topic to talk with Natalee, one of our OBM success stories, hearing from those that have gone before you. So before we dive in with Natalee, I am Leah Steinkirch. I am OBM turned CEO here at Prowess Project. And before we get going in the conversation, we'll start with our opening question. And today's question is, what is the first live concert that you went to see? So what's that first live, whether it was a big concert or small, stadium or not, what was the first one that you went to? And mine was Aerosmith against my mother's, she wasn't approving of that one, but Aerosmith was my very first concert. Probably not what I'd go see now, but it was fun. Oh, that's fine, Amy. I'm dating myself too with Aerosmith back in the day. Aha. That is the one that you told us. I thought that was a ha-ha. Love it. Throw those in there. And as I mentioned, I'm Leah Steinkirch with Prowess Project. I started out as the OBM and now the CEO, and Prowess Project is helping women train to be online business managers. And as they're going through their training, we are getting all kinds of data in the background to then match them up with their ideal clients. Oh, I love all of these. Janet Jackson, Hootie and the Blowfish, Winona Judd and Clint Black. Love it, Holly. The Osmonds. Oh, see, that was one that my mom wanted to take me to, but we never did, Deanna. Metallica. I love it. All right. So let's get started because I don't know anyone who's seen more live concerts than Natalee. And that is the reason why that was our starter question. I met Natalee a little over a year ago as she was getting started in figuring out her OBM journey. And I have to tell you that it was one of those people that from the get-go, I was super impressed with. We had hopped on a call just to chat about OBM University. And it was like, here are my questions. Here is my timeline. This is what I'm trying to do. And it was just like, boom, boom, boom. So right from the start, I could tell that it was one of my fellow people, that OBM brain. And from there, I've loved getting to know Natalee and then also having her here on the Prowess team. So let me get Natalee here. Natalee.
Hello.
We're so happy you're here with us on this Prowess Live. Do you want to just kick things off and introduce yourself? And you can start with your first concert.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the invite, Leah. You are absolutely speaking to core Natalee. I love live music. Always been a thing in my life. My first live concert was Whitney Houston. So shout out to everybody that was, the Janet Jacksons and the 90s, 80s and 90s of the world. And ironically, my husband and I are going to see Aerosmith in November. So
nice.
Yes. Full circle moment there.
Yes, I love it. So tell us about your background. I'll let you give your own intro. Like, where did you come from and how did you get started as an OBM?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am really someone who did the stereotypical go to college, get a job, grow up in corporate, do all the things, right? So I spent 25 years in corporate and startups. I started as, a note taker, really as an intern, sitting in all of these meetings and just kind of doing the documentation. And eventually, found that I really enjoyed what I was doing. So I grew through the ranks in corporate, mostly in technology, supply chain operations, that kind of space. And through that, I had the opportunity to learn a lot of different industries and a lot of different software. I had the opportunity to have different aspects of the role, even though it was primarily within the same companies as well. So really had a very good breadth of knowledge in a lot of different spaces. So I started my business about a year ago. April of 2023 is when I started NGSD Services. And that's what really kicked off my official OBM journey.
Love it. And can I ask, what made you make that shift? You have such a talk about the patchwork quilt, right? So you have such an amazing patchwork quilt in corporate. What made you make that shift to starting your own business as an OBM?
Yeah, absolutely. I always had a side gig. So when I was in corporate, I was teaching dance. I was a waitress and a bartender at one point. In college, I had, my full-time job. I worked on campus in work study, but I also worked for an event planning company. So I've always had multiple things going on in my life. And I knew that I wasn't going to stay in corporate forever. The concept of what my parents, my grandparents did, where you get a job, you stay with the company for 35, 40 years, it just isn't what I wanted to do with my world. I was also very often being asked by friends and family to help with technology or setting up systems or facilitating introductions or resume reviews or all of these different kinds of things. And so from that, I knew I had valuable skills that I wanted to share, and I could likely monetize from those skills. And this was just the most seamless fit for what I have been doing for the last 20 plus years.
Love it. And I'm sure that, people listening, they have similar stories, right? I think that a lot of OBMs have that. We always had something else going. We'll have to trade work study and college stories later, because I had that job also. So there's always something else, and that ask from other people, right? Is that there's whether it's technology or just that curiosity that someone sees in you. So they're asking you to help with that project. And so I'm curious, like in that timeline of going from corporate to starting your own thing, is there anything that you would have done differently?
I say yes and no. So I say yes because the fulfillment and the freedom that I am feeling, like just how I feel as a human right now, is something that I don't know how I didn't seek this out sooner. So I would love to have started this so many years ago, but I think I wasn't in the right mindset or listening for the right things, the cues, the gut intuition. I didn't have all the skills that I needed at the time. And so I think that probably is a little bit of, what delayed me in getting started. But I'm grateful for what I did to get me to where I am today.
Yes. I love that, because I do think it's always like the things that are happening are supposed to be happening, right? There's a reason why all these things are in our path, and whether that's a skill that we're learning, personal, professional, communication, boundaries, all that stuff, everything's happening for a reason, right? And then eventually it leads us to that thing. Did you have a very specific timeline? Like, was there ever a point where you said, okay, in 1 year, I'm going to be doing this? Or was it just that gradual progression like you're talking about? And then one day you're like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. I would say I will answer this in twofold. I'm a true OBM, so of course I had a plan. But at the same point in time, I also was very methodical in I need X to happen. So not necessarily a deadline from a date perspective, but I needed to make sure that my family was going to be set up for continued success. I carried health insurance. I needed to make sure we had a game plan for the health insurance. I knew starting out, I wasn't going to be making the same amount that I was making in corporate. So I wanted to make sure that my savings account and my business account were at a certain dollar point that was going to allow for my family and I to continue to live in the same, lifestyle that we had, going to the concerts.
Yeah, I was going to say the same amount of concerts.
Yes, exactly. Taking trips. I really wanted to make sure that we were good there, but I also knew I wanted to change some things about our lifestyle too. So I'm a huge shopper. I have significantly cut back on my shopping because I am prioritizing my business, and I don't miss it because those were just things. I now have that, again, that freedom and flexibility from both a financial perspective as well as, just not the burden of all the things going on.
I think that's so important, of figuring out what are like the actual true things that we want, right?
Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
like, what do we fill the gaps with when it's doesn't feel balanced? So, and thank you for sharing all that. If you guys have questions for Natalee, just throw them in the chat and we're happy to get to those as well. I'll keep going down my list because I am just super curious about all this.
Sure.
Is there any kind of wisdom that you would share in, because I think a lot of people sit there with that decision, like we can stay, I won't use the word comfortable because I don't think it's actually comfortable when we're in a role that we don't want to be in anymore, right? But like you're talking about, like certain things are being met. You know what to expect, and there's if I go out on my own, I'm not going to know what to expect. Any words of wisdom there for someone who may be sitting in that spot?
Yes, I think the biggest thing is to stop worrying about what other people are going to think.
Oh.
For the longest time, I was more concerned about what would a senior director that I previously worked for in corporate have to say if they saw something change on my LinkedIn. What would somebody, think about me posting educational or informational things on LinkedIn? Like, who am I to be an expert in this space? Well, you know what? I have 25 years of experience.
Yes, you do.
I was in the seat, and a corporation hired me to do that job because they knew that I was going to be successful at getting that work done. It worked for them. They made millions, if not billions of dollars, depending on which company we're referring to. And so I had to shut that little voice up. I really had to stop caring about what other people were going to think of me. They're not paying attention. They don't know. They aren't looking for me. So that is one piece of advice. I think the other thing is to let the experience guide you. I'm an Enneagram 3. I am a type A personality. You have learned I love my order and my, processes and everything. I had to stop worrying about if everything was perfect before I got started. I've had to just start, get my name out there, get my proof points and my testimonials and my network speak for me. And things are coming along as I've been in my business.
I love that you said that. So to the first part, the point that you made, I just want to like scream this one, is that you did it for other people, like the posting on the LinkedIn, right? We get that, that fear of who am I to be out there sharing all this wisdom or posting this stuff, but yet we'll do it for the corporation or the company or the paycheck. But there's no reason why we can't do it for ourselves. So that one, like, I want to underscore that we just need to keep going and shift it to just be we are our own subject matter in that one. So I think that's brilliant. Yes. And then letting the process lead you to, because we don't know what it's going to look like, but yet we're really good. Again, we can do it for other people. We're really good when we don't know what's going to happen. We're the ones that are wrangling all the chaos, right? So
exactly,
it's doing it for ourselves and giving ourselves that gift. So thank you for mentioning those both.
For sure.
And it looks like in the chat we have a lot of people that are in the same boat.
Love it.
Yes. How did you? So I know a lot of people from all of this. So now you've taken all of your experience and you're like, I'm going to go out and do this. How did you decide where to focus, who to talk to? Did you get started with we talk a lot about doing the info interviews in the OBM program. How did you get started doing all that?
I would say I found all the ugly ducklings. I kissed all the frogs, like you name it, like they were out there. We've shared a laugh I've had many a bad info interviews that you kind of want to like Homer Simpson, like dope walk into the bushes out of them, because they weren't my people. And being okay with saying no, especially when I knew I wanted to get my bank account to that dollar point. I wanted to have experience and proof points. Like, I knew that wasn't going to get me to those spaces. And so I had to be comfortable saying no. And again, that is not an easy thing for me, just inherently, to say no. I do all the things. I have all the, appointments on the calendar, all of the things. So really it was being comfortable in putting myself out there, even if I knew that individual might not be the right match, or that business might not be the right match, because they may lead me to others. And so I've leveraged my network, the people that have, put me up for promotions, the people who have shared opportunities or suggested my name to be someone that they should talk to. Again, even if I didn't think that was going to end up with a paid contract or opportunity, it was an opportunity for me to share my pitch, to pass along information, and potentially, help Prowess or help other entrepreneurs also that are, growing their business and that sort of thing. So that's really kind of what was important to me, to kind of get myself out there. And I think you asked me what my niche was. Was that what you asked?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can go to that one. Before you go there, though, it's like, I feel like I just want to like get the highlighter out for everything you're saying, because I think you raised another really good point because I remember being there like, okay, I'm making this shift. Who am I going to go ask for info interviews? Like who, like you get that feeling of like, no one's ever told me I've done a good job, but then who recommended you for promotions? Who's the one who's come to you with a project? Who's the one who's connected you with someone of like, hey, I think you could help them. Those, like when we stop and have to force ourselves to make the list grows, right? We realize like, oh wait, there are people that believe in me, and going back to them just to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do you have anyone that you think I could talk to? They're always super happy to help. People like to help, but we have to force ourselves, because I think our first reaction is like, no, there's no one. There's no one I could ever network with, right? Because nobody's banging down the door that day.
Right. But the first thing I honestly did, Leah, was go through my Facebook group or Facebook friends. Okay, who do I know here that runs a business? I think I ended up with, I don't know, let's say 30 people that I was like, I feel comfortable approaching this individual. They run a business. I don't necessarily know that they're going to be a right fit for me, but let me go see who those individuals are connected to. So it was an easy thing. People I knew, people I had encountered over, my wedding photographer, my DJ, the people that you go to appointments to, if you have a chiropractor, if you have a dentist, those are all small business owners that are in your network in some way. And even if you don't make it a formal info interview of some kind, you can still ask about their systems. What do you guys use for technology these days? How do you like it? And you just strike up a conversation with those people to kind of see maybe there's some interest there or not. And then you just put it out there. My family laugh at me now because I still carry business cards, which is probably a, really archaic, born in the 1900s thing to do these days, but I do. And so my kids, my husband, my sisters laugh at me because I will pull them out. Oh, you brought up, you need to update your menu at this restaurant. I'll leave a business card on the table. And just not being concerned about what are they thinking about me now. It's ironically been the most freeing thing in the world to stop worrying about that.
I love that. And I think what I want to highlight is like, just keep doing it, right? Because the more you practice it, the more you're just saying or asking those questions, the more you just get used to it. And then it becomes natural. So for all of us that are so comfortable behind the scenes, just as we practice continuing to put ourselves out there or just asking curious questions, it becomes a habit. And then we don't even realize that when people are seeing us as those experts because we're the people asking the questions. So
absolutely.
I love it. Okay. So getting back to your niche, how did you decide, or what is your niche? Like, I know that's usually a big stumbling block for people is what am I going to do?
Yes. And for me, it was really balancing, like, what am I comfortable in with what do I have the most passion for? And so I remember coming to my niche pitch with you and Ashley. And, I grew up in the dance studio. I grew up in creative arts. I know all the song lyrics. I can tell you all the things. So I really was interested at first in finding a way to niche into the creative arts. And then I started talking with people in the creative arts industry and realized there's not a lot of excess budget and financial ability in there. And so you may find, a bigger dance studio that can, support an online business manager and that sort of thing. But that's probably not going to be where I want to be from a financial forecast perspective.
Sure.
And so then I fell back into technology. Who can I support from a technology perspective? Because I've understood supply chain, logistics, operations, procurement. And so I really started to lean into that a little bit. And I had a couple of clients that came into that space. At the end of the day, I want to really continue to support the same people who have been supportive of me. And that is female entrepreneurs. I want to be able to let them find their passion again. I want them to have freedom and flexibility to spend summers with their family, to take vacations with the girls, to not spend nights and weekends billing and doing inventory and all of these different things. So my true niche from a passion perspective is to continue to enable female business owners who want that freedom and flexibility to focus on their passion.
I love that, because that sounds to me like something that people instantly can think about, right? Like they can think of the burned out female entrepreneur they know who they would love to introduce you to.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a niche, but it's not so specific.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But it does still, again, that there's that filter and magnet, right? It still does attract those people for you to help. And then from there, you can assess what they need. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
How long did it take you to kind of settle on this niche that you feel like, yes, this one is working when I have conversations, this is who's coming to me? How long did that take?
So interestingly enough, if I go back to when I was doing OBM work prior to the last 3 years, everyone I supported was a female business entrepreneur or a female business owner. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when I first sat down for my niche pitch, that was over a year ago now. So it has evolved, and I'm sure it will continue to evolve. But it just feels so comfortable now that, it doesn't feel like selling, because I am not a salesperson. Mm-hmm. I am not the gal that you want to host the Pampered Chef or the, whatever sale thing. I don't bring people to the party. Like that's not me. That's just not my jam. But I can start a conversation with anyone about what is working and what is not working and how I can help them fix what is not working.
Oh, I love that, because it's going back to what you're passionate about, what comes natural. And that's where those conversations come from.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. Mm-hmm. So a reminder, guys, throw any questions that you want into chat for Natalee. Here's another one that I get a lot from people. And if you don't mind talking about it, the one question I'll get from people is like, what do I call myself? Right? Like, do I use my name? Do I with my business? should it be super creative? Should it so can you tell us your business name and how you decided on that?
Yes. I'm glad you asked this because I think anyone who knows me, and I tell this story, it just resonates. So again, I am one of those people that has always just been driven. I like to check things off the list. On the corporate world, I was always considered super passionate and often too brash, but I get things accomplished, right? So when I was thinking about what I was going to name my business, I wanted to incorporate something about myself, but also explain what the clients that I'm going to be working with are going to experience. So the easy part was my initials, NGS, Natalee Shimerdla. And then I was like, what do I put on the end? How do I think about this? And then I realized what it is that I want to do. I just want to get shit done. So my business is NGSD because Natalee gets shit done. So there you have it. That is what I do. I just get shit done. I make sure that if you want something to happen, it is getting done. And, I will do whatever it takes to get that done for you.
I love it. I love it. I love that, because it's like clever, right? And your personality that we're going to call a spade, but at the same time, it's very it's short, it's 4 letters, it's buttoned up.
Exactly. And my sisters, who are my huge support system, they were laughing at it. They were like, everything looks so polished, but we know the real you. So anyway, yes, that is what it stands for. It can be put in front of anyone in corporate, but once you get to know the real Nat, it's I just get shit done.
Yes, there you go. It's one of those don't overthink it, say what it is, but you can still be clever about it.
Exactly. Yes.
Well done. Okay. Any other questions? Again, just feel free to ask away, guys. But what are you excited about for what's next? What is besides all the amazing work that you're doing here with Prowess, what are you excited about for the future of the OBM path or for yourself or your business?
Yeah. So when I left corporate, and mind you, I have been exactly 4 weeks away from the corporate space. My goal in leaving corporate was to actually take a beat. I wanted to take a breath. I wanted to prioritize my physical health, my emotional health, my my family time. I wanted to make sure that I was able to get things done. We are at a very pivotal space in our household. Our children are older. Our youngest is a senior in high school this year. And I just felt like time was slipping away. And so I wanted to make sure that, again, I had all of my things that needed to be in place, but the timing in the summertime just really has been great for me to reset my circadian rhythm and take, a few hours to go run things to my daughter and just do all of the things that I needed to do. So that was first and foremost a priority for me dropping out of corporate, so to speak. Secondly, I have a ton of great opportunities kind of on the horizon. I have a potential partnership that I am looking forward to where there is a business that is going to help companies set their strategy and vision, and they are going to partner with me to be their implementer and their executor of those plans. So I'm really excited about that. The work that we have coming up in the Prowess space is really feeding into my passion of helping to give back and helping to let others find their freedom and flexibility. And so I'm really excited about all the amazing things that you, Leah, and Ashley have on the docket for Prowess as well. I live for the community. Again, I was in the dance studio for so many years. I was in a sorority. I come from a big family. So community is very, very important to me. And that's what I love so much about Prowess, especially, is this community of amazing people that we have, that I get to partner and interact and collaborate with. And I would say one of my long-term goals is ultimately to give back. You know, life hasn't been easy for me and my family, but we have, charged through it. And so I want to be able to give back to people that are, re-entering society, that are, experiencing grief and having to start a corporate life or, a job for the first time after many years. So lots and lots of cool stuff on the horizon. And now, especially, it is so important watching the growth of small businesses, watching the exponential transformation that AI can do for business, and really having the opportunity to just thrive in a very, unlimited, endless potential kind of space.
This is what I love about you, Natalee. It's like not just one thing, you just have like a list like that hits all the categories.
I have all the lists. I do.
Yes. And you probably have measurements for each one of them too. So
I mean, there might be a little thing over here on my wall that's got some goals and things, but yes. Yeah.
Yes. I love it. And thank you again. Thanks for sharing all that. Because I do think that perspective of like that it doesn't have to look one dimensional, right? It can look like many different things. We can bring a lot of different types of things into our OBM careers. It can be, and again, our measurements can be both personal, they're professional, they're financial, but sometimes it's just balance, bringing, like you said, like the health and the wellness back into it, which I think is so important.
Absolutely. And in order to run a successful business, time and time again, the people that you listen to, like the, Ariana Huffingtons and the, Michelle Obamas, they talk about this. Like, you have to make sure that you are good first before anything else is good, or it's not going to be good in the end. And so, yes, that balance it's a practice. It's a process that you put in place every single day.
Yes. I have just recently embraced adding into the calendar all the things that's like decompress, walk, breathe, eating lunch. Like how important
water
that is. Water.
Yeah.
All these things
Absolutely.
should be in the time management as well as the meetings and the metrics that we have to track.
Certainly.
Okay. Well, one more question, and that would just be, what would you say to anyone who is thinking about becoming an OBM?
So establishing your purpose and your values is going to first and foremost determine whether or not OBM or any other role is going to be where you want to be. Lots of work in this space with personally, probably 3 to 4 years of it before I really jumped into becoming an OBM, leaving corporate, all of the things. A community. I call them my board of directors. But find the people that are going to be not only supportive, right? You definitely want the people that are going to hype you up and give you the confidence to go have that random intro conversation or whatever the case might be. But I also needed the people that are like, that's not probably the best space for you at this time, or now might not be the right time for you, or whatever the case might be. I just really appreciate the people that were willing to not just be a yes woman kind of person. Build a plan, right? So if you are operations focused, if you are project management focused, you don't go into your day-to-day job without some sort of to-do list, game plan, what have you. You have to apply that here too. You have to know what direction you want to go, or you will find that you just stand stagnant and you're waiting for someone to tell you what to do. So you definitely need to do that. And then I would also say that you have to just put yourself out there. Like I said earlier, just finding in your network, LinkedIn, if you're not a social media person, what PTA meetings are you going to? What, neighborhood friends do you have? Are there people that your children are on teams with that you could invite out to coffee and just have a conversation? You just got to start somewhere, and you might get a lot of nothing, but it just takes one person to get you started, to boost your confidence that, yeah, I can do this thing. And then also it helps you figure out what you do and don't want to do. And so just put yourself out there. Stop caring about what those other people are going to say, because they're probably not even paying attention to you. So just start. And whether that's joining a program like ours with Prowess or any other program, find one thing a day to enhance or expand your knowledge in some capacity. Find a masterclass, find a webinar, find a training series, paid or unpaid, something that will continue to build to your skill set and add to your resume so that you can share that with future clients anytime you have the opportunity to meet with them. And then lastly, you know what I'm going to say here, Leah. Like, this has been my motto and my mantra, and Prowess has adopted it as well. And I think it's probably what pulled me in, outside of just how incredibly passionate you and Ashley both are about Prowess. But it's the concept of the buffalo. And if you've been on any Prowess workshops or lives, we often talk about the whole buffalo. So for those of you that don't know, there is a story that was shared by Rory Vaden, and the concept is a leadership strategy or a leadership perspective. But basically, buffaloes and cows act differently when a storm is coming. Cows are going to run away from the storm, and they are going to have full impact from the storm. They're going to be, expending all of the energy they have. They're going to likely end up hurt, injured, what have you. And they get the full impact of the storm, the mess, the in the middle, the chaos. But when a buffalo knows that a storm is coming, they charge into it head first. And you just got to be the buffalo, as we say. You just have to be the buffalo. Don't worry about, trying to protect yourself and all of that kind of stuff. Just go towards the storm, take on the risk, understand with some, boundaries, obviously, and just do it. Because it really, once you get past that storm, it's a really cool feeling.
Yep. And then those bison, they had that energy. They weren't depleted, right? On the other side
Absolutely.
of it, they could take all of that and keep going. So
yeah,
I love it. Again, I love your 4-point plan on that one, Natalie. But I also, what I was hearing you say and all of that is the board of directors, right? Having the plan, putting yourself out there, all very similar things that we do in corporate or in our jobs for other people.
Absolutely.
And if this is like something's nagging at you to change or make a shift or just even grow your OBM business, do it, because it's there and you already have it inside of you to apply. So I love it. Thank you so much, Natalie. I love all that you shared today. I think it's been super helpful for those, even for myself, for those just great reminders of what we need to be doing to even take care of ourselves and grow our own businesses. If you guys have any questions, you know how to reach Natalie and I. We will be back next week with more OBM success stories. So we will see you then. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, all.